Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 278, The Last Witch Hunter from 2015. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by Cross Diesel Repair. Locally owned and operated, Cross Diesel Repair provides professional semi-truck and heavy equipment repairs and maintenance in Corinth, Kentucky, Dry Ridge, and the surrounding areas. Shout out to Cross Diesel Repair.
Well, shout out to Cross Diesel. I feel like Cross Diesel could have sponsored any of our episodes considering how prevalent the cross has played in the Vin Diesel Fastiverse.
Heavy symbology on the cross in this one. There was, yeah.
With us tonight, we have returning friend of the show, back from his Too Fast, Too Furious episode forever ago, back from his Behind the Paywall episode of Four Brothers. So we went from 2 to 4 to Witch. We have with us tonight Mark Hofmeyer. Hello, Mark.
My face hurts so much because I'm smiling so much thinking about this movie.
You have been so excited to talk about this movie. Like we booked you for this like 4 months ago, and I feel like I know this isn't true, but I feel like you've told me you've watched this movie like 3 times in the last 6 weeks. Maybe that's true. I don't know, but it feels like I'm so excited to talk about this. Just watch it. Just watch it. Or just and like you're just so amped about this movie that I feel like most of the world kind of forgot.
Listen, that's why I love it so much. Like it's a movie where everyone's like, listen, Vin Diesel's immortal anyway, so let's just make him immortal.
Yep.
Let's call him Kaulder. Let's let him have his D&D fun. And let's just put a beard on him. Let's put some hair on him. Let's have him battle witches. Let's have him back punch a large man named, great back punch. Let's have a witch queen punch him in the gut. Let's have more Game of Thrones actors because Triple X3, there's Game of Thrones actors, and Furious 7, Furious,
That's
Fate
where
of Furious.
Oh yeah, where's Leslie Egret, man?
Yeah, I know. I knew I recognized her, but I was like, I'm just gonna wait and ask these guys where she's from. And yep, there you go.
Vin's my boy, y'all. He's just like, you know what I love about this movie, right? I hate calling it dorky, but it's super dorky. But he still has to like get laid with a stewardess, so he can never go full dork.
Yes,
It's like listen, I do D&D, but I also hook up with stewardesses.
Yeah,
and it's just like he'll never commit to full dork, but he still is like. There's a scene in this movie, y'all, where he and Michael Caine,
yes,
he brings in Judi Dench for Chronicles of Riddick. He brings in Helen Mirren for Fast. He brings in Michael Caine, and they're going, where's that place where all the witches are in prison? And then they go, the witch prison. And I picked up my couch and I just threw it through my window when I heard that. It was a heavy.
Did you breathe on the window first to make sure that there was magic there?
Yeah, I did, and I broke through it. I don't know how hard I threw this couch. Good couch, Costco couch. Still have it. Still in my living room. Not mad at me. But when they said the witch prison, I went, oh, life doesn't get more magical than this. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And that's why I watched it 37 times. No, 37 times. And I wore a turtleneck each time while watching it.
Did you see this in theaters originally, or when did you first see it?
Listen, if Vin's in it, I'm there.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm Vin all day. We covered this on the MFF pod in like 2015.
Okay, yeah.
Is this movie part? Is there more of these? I need to know.
No, it is The Last Witch Hunter. Okay,
it's just the last one. Okay, it's the first and last Witch Hunter.
So you had never seen this before, right, Joe? This is your first. Okay, because I saw this in theaters as well.
Okay.
So they make this movie, they announce this movie before it even comes out. They're like, guess what, guys? There's going to be a sequel. We're going to do another one of these. Because so much of this movie is basically like, hey, you know all these characters? They're going to come back together. They're going to do another one. Like the end is just like, hey, me and Rose Leslie, we're going to go do another one.
Yep.
And then the movie comes out and critics hate it. And the box office in America, like it bombs.
Why?
They're like, so we're not gonna do that. I mean, it eventually made money overseas, but it like critically and commercially flopped so hard in America that the wording on IMDb is, quote, the sequel is now in doubt. We are now 8 years later. No word, I don't think, of a sequel, so I don't think it's gonna happen, but maybe.
How many more Fast and the Furiouses does Vin have to do to get a second to Last Witch Hunter?
So what I think is the most special thing about this movie, which is a movie that I like, I don't love it, but I like it a lot because I think it's very Vin, is that the whole point of the Riddick franchise, it feels like, is he's like, hey, I love D&D. I'm going to do movies about D&D. And then they do 3 of those plus the animated things. They're like, what if we do another movie that's totally unrelated where it's also D&D and that's also literally my character from D&D? Like, he already had the whole D&D thing done. And they're like, well, what if we took a second bite at the apple and made a witch movie too? And it's like, okay, like how many D&D movies are you gonna make? And now there's an actual D&D movie coming out this year with Letty in it, and he's not. It's wild, man. So I don't know.
We need it. We need a Last Witch Hunter too. So do you guys know
second
the budget
to Last Witch Hunter? I think.
The Last Witch Hunter again. I don't know.
Two Witch Hunter.
Yes, there it is. Wait,
Two Witch, Two Hunter.
Two Witch, Two Hunter. There you go. Okay, perfect.
Okay, do you guys know the budget of this movie?
I did not look it up. I know that eventually, I'm gonna
45 mil.
No, I'm gonna guess that's too low. I'm gonna guess it's like 100.
There's a lot of CGI. You're right. Yeah.
I originally thought 45 because Bloodshot's around 40. This is a $90 million
movie.
Oh my god.
It doesn't look like a $90 movie, a $90 million movie.
No.
Most of it probably went to Vin. And I know a lot of the production was delayed because of issues with Furious 7 and
because Furious 7 got delayed after Paul died, and so this had to get bumped back too.
Okay.
And so maybe that cost some extra money. But when I saw 90 million, it made me so happy. I was like, this is a $40 million movie. This should never have been a $90 million film.
If I've learned anything, it's that CGI is very expensive.
Oh, that's a great point.
I always underestimate how much CGI costs, and there's a lot of CGI in this.
It made 27 in America. It made 119 worldwide for a total of 146. So, like, it made its money back, but, like, America was like, no, thank you. Like, okay, so, Joe, I've been teasing this for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
The thing that blows my mind about this movie, we'll get into the plot summary in a second, is that it's set in modern day. Like, okay, so this movie opens, and it's like, it's old-timey, like, in the Middle Ages, right? Like, Vin with, a beard and shaggy hair, and he's, like,
very
fighting
Game
witches.
Of Thronesy kind of vibes, yeah.
So what did you think when all of a sudden we flash forward, and it's, like, 2015 New York? Were you, like...
Floored.
Okay.
Completely shocked, floored. I'm like, okay, this is going to be... Because, like, I know nothing about this movie going in, right? Like, I just know you guys are hype on it, so I'm like, oh, maybe we're going to get kind of like... What was the fucking Jason Statham, Kings, whatever one?
In the Name of the King?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get something along those lines. That's how it's setting us up. And then, like, all of a sudden, he's on a plane, and I'm like, that feels a little weird. And then it's, like, very modern day. Not even, like, oh, it was, like, and I'm like... So I'm like... Did he have, like, a weird flashback hallucination situation going on this plane? Or, like, what was happening? No, I had no idea. So, like, I'm floored when he's, like, just cut to plane after they drop in Last Witch Hunter, the title card.
Because I don't watch trailers. This is in my peak Movie Pass era, so I'm going to see everything. It's a Vin movie. It's a Rose Leslie movie who I have a deep, deep crush on because of Game of Thrones. I like Elijah Wood. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go see this. It's cool. And it's the Last Witch Hunter.
Cast is sick.
I get there, and, like, it's, middle-age battle. I'm like, all right, here's exactly what I think it is. And then we flash forward, and I feel like I spend the next, like, 80 minutes like, wait, hold on. Why are we today? Like, what
in New York?
What about this premise? The Last Witch Hunter is all that stands between humanity and the combined forces of the most horrifying witches in history. What about this idea is just like, we got to set it modern day, baby? It's just like, none of it. Like, it is such a swing for seemingly no reason. None. And I'm just like, everything, you're right, Joe. Like, I like going in the first time, I'm like, this isn't In the Name of the King. Like, this is an old timey, like, swords and sandals, or just magic in the olden days. And it's just like, no, man, they're on a plane, their cell phones and shit. It's just like, what? Oh, okay, cool, we're here.
When he answered a cell phone the first time, I also was very confused.
Vin doesn't use cell phones. Vin Diesel should not use cell phones in movies. Just doesn't seem right. I don't want to watch him be on a phone or an iPad. And also, too, so in the beginning, he's on a plane. Is he on the plane because of the witch with the runes, or are the axe and cross, or the cross and axe too cheap to get him a private plane?
He's on the plane because of the witch with the runes, I think.
Okay.
I think that he, like, somehow, although he is not magic, right? He's not magic, he's just immortal. But he also, like, has, like, a weird sense of magic, right?
Well,
he's like a spidey sense of magic.
So here's the thing. yet another movie where Vin Diesel's a detective, but he's not a detective. Like, this is Fast and Furious 4, him smelling the nitro meth. This is Triple X again. This is Riddick again.
Yep.
This is every single movie he's like, I'm smart. I can solve crimes. I'm here to help. But I'm not a detective. Don't get it twisted. It's just like, well, why don't you just play a detective? Like, you want to play a detective, but you wind up in an action movie. It is insane that it's another one of those where he's once again a detective without actually being a detective.
Oh, and I love too when they take away his immortality, that he can still ride a jagged beast and kill it and not have any scratches on him. So there's like no difference between Immortal Vin and Mortal Vin, which makes me really happy. So I'm like, wait, what doesn't matter if he doesn't have any powers? Like, he just took down like a giant robot who takes witches into the witch prison, and he was fine.
It's like a weird like root based scorpion kind of thing.
Too much. It's just too much. Very expensive. They probably could have cut this down to 80 million and just had it been, I don't know. What else? What it could have been?
You're talking about the giant like wooden spider with the big orange glowing eye. We're talking about that thing?
It's a scorpion. It's definitely a scorpion because the scorpion comes off of her and like scorpions into this thing to like give it life.
But like the Guardian, right? Like the thing that like the big hulking, like the one major CGI creature in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
and just he's riding
insane.
it. Vin's riding it.
Yeah.
Mortal Vin.
Yeah,
with
because
a sword.
So he's in the olden days. Like, there's Season of the Witch, which is a Nicolas Cage movie where it's again like it's him, guarding a witch or whatever. But it's just
Claire
like
Foy in a cage for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, that's a pre-popped Claire Foy before The Crown, before First Gauze, before everything, right? Yeah.
Okay.
She sits a lot. It's great.
He's just a dude who like hunts and kills witches and then gets cursed to never die. But again, like we're saying, like he doesn't have powers. It just seems like he has unlimited money. He knows everything. He speaks every language. Like he's just like he's used time to his advantage. But he's just a dude.
I think that he's funded by the church, and we all know that they have a ton of money. So I think that it's just like the Vatican employs Vin. And that's why he has unlimited
But I think it's like one of those things where just like you put like $10 in a savings account in like 1910, and by
there was no savings accounts in the time that Vin starts his. It's 800
I'm saying
he buries some gold. He buries gold.
700 years, and then like 100 years ago, you put $10 away, and you're set to that. You know what I mean? Like there's
yeah, fair.
So he's had enough time to figure it out.
Wall Street, 700 years.
Wall
Street 800.
1300 BC.
When you got to get that money. I have gold buried all over the states. And he just finds it. Oh, weird. And then he sells it. It makes money.
Was there a point where they tried to pit... Was this a vision, or was this saying that Vin grew up in Old York, not New York, and there was a time when New York City was just pasture, and he was like an original New Yorker and just never left. I think that that's what they were pitching to us at one point.
Oh, might have been. The tree's there, and he knows the church where people were buried.
Right? The corner store.
Wow, he's been kicking it in New York for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what else I love? This isn't one of those movies where he's always bummed about his family dying. He's moved on.
Yeah.
In the commentary I was listening to with Breck Eisner, I kind of like, though, that he's not just super, what is it, Lethal Weapon 1 or John Wick. He's like, it was 800 years ago. I'm cool. Like, I miss him. But, like, there's some stewardesses. Like, I got to live my life. Like, it's very interesting
right?
that he's no longer driven to avenge his family. Because he's like, that was 800 years ago. So he has a couple visions, he's like, I miss him. But he's like, check that out. Like, it's an interesting dynamic for a hero in that he's not super morose. He's actually, he puts the Henleys on. He puts the jackets on. He's all about his fashion. And, he's the cool witch hunter. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic, right? Did you guys like that? That he's not like, oh, my family. He's like, I want my family back.
I did like it because I really did think it was going to be a revenge story, and it's kind of not. The revenge and the death of the family thing. You're right. He just doesn't give a fuck about it. He's just like, I'm hunting witches, and like that's what I've been doing for 800 years, banging stewardesses and hunting witches, and like Michael Caine's my buddy, and like, and that's what we got, man. And like that's what you got to deal with. It works for me, and like now he just wears like very Fast and the Furious combat style outfits.
Yeah, he is Dominic Toretto when things are going well, but that's just like his vibe. It's not like he's worried that like Letty's dead or he's like worried about the mortgage or whatever. It's just like, nah, man, things are good. It's like, okay, like it feels like, you know, movies are driven around conflict, and it feels like having a character who's just like so like, nah, man, life's pretty good. It's like, wait, where's the conflict coming from? Like it's external, but it's just like to have someone so like at peace with the world is just like, oh, like you're making it harder for yourself by not giving him internal demons. He's just like, no, I'm good.
I was totally fine.
And like Michael Caine, he's like, yeah, he's still alive. Like, so you don't even have that loss to worry about because he's like, yeah, he'll come back. He'll be fine. So then he's just sort of chilling. He's just sort of just existing in life. And I still like it. I like that though. I like
it. I do.
Like, you're right though. There's no, like, you know, in City of Angels, right? Where Nick Cage is like, oh, I just got to feel. I want to be able to eat oranges and listen to Goo Goo Dolls and feel the water on me. And you, oh, cool. Now I know you want to be a human. And like, there's drama there and there's Meg Ryan. But in this one, he's not that immortal dude that's like, I've lived too long. I want to die. Help me move on. He's like, no, this is great.
He doesn't even seem pained with his job, right? Like he is the last witch hunter. The humanity lies in his hands. He is the gatekeeper of good and evil in the world.
You know who he is? You know who he's most similar to, Joe? I just realized this in demeanor. Kurt Russell as Santa in the Christmas Chronicles. Where he's just like, hey, I know what you asked for when you were a kid. Just like, how could you possibly? He's like, I've been around a while. It's just like, okay, like, and what are you doing with that information? He's just like, nah, I just know everything. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't even have like the pains of like that like humanity rests on my shoulder. Like he doesn't even seem phased by it. He's like, I'm gonna build some watches and like I'm good, man. Like whatever happens, happens. I'm just fighting witches.
Yeah.
Check out my car, bro.
Yeah, again, he's a sick ass cards.
I don't want to overstate the fact that like after you get the shock of the fact that it's in modern day, then we cut to New York. We're off the plane. We're in New York, and then Michael Caine starts doing voiceover before we even see him. He starts doing voiceover about like explaining the rules of the world. It's like, hold on, Michael Caine's in this movie? Like, not only like I thought this was going to be kind of like a trashy like modern day like straight to Netflix kind of thing. It's like, how did they get Michael Caine? It's like, so there's the mind blowing. Okay, so we're in modern day, and also like there's a prestige actor on board. Like it just compounds the like question marks around this film in a way. And then like Vin is just making like a string of like the best like I'm pretty old jokes like that. It's so weird and ambitious in a way that like movies almost actively try not to be.
That and that's what and you're getting to the point that like is my main takeaway from this movie. This movie is a fucking blast. It's just fun. Like there's just some like understated fun about it that it's like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not like corny and tongue in cheek. Like you said, dorky. Dorky's a good word for it. Like Vin is dorky, but like it's not like corny, right? Like
No,
I guess
it's not
maybe a
corny
little
at
bit,
all.
but like it's fun. Like a fun. It just this was like a breath of fresh air for me. I really really enjoyed how much just fun it was. I was like, oh man, like I'm really glued to this stupid movie. Like it's not good. Like it's not like
so here's kind of an explanation of why this is the way it is. So it's directed by Breck Eisner, who I think, I don't remember if we were recording or not, but he did The Crazies, yeah.
And The Expanse. I love that show.
Oh, I heard great things about The Expanse.
I think
my friends love it.
Resident Historian loves it too.
Yeah.
It's written by this guy Corey Goodman, who did Underworld Blood Wars, but he hasn't done a lot of other huge movies. But then there's a writing duo of Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. So here are the movies that they've written, and this kind of explains why it feels the way it does. So going from like most normal to craziest. So they're doing the upcoming Madam Web movie, which is kind of the female Spider-Man spin-off movie.
Oh,
so they're doing
That's
that.
Fun. Okay.
They did the Power Rangers reboot. They did Dracula Untold, where Luke Evans, a.k.a. Owen Shaw, plays Dracula.
Gold coin sites, baby.
Then they did Gods of Egypt, which is, I don't know if you know that, Joe, but that is one of the historically, like, biggest what the fuck movies of the last, like, 10 or 15 years. Like, that was, like, a swing that, like...
Gorgeous.
It's insane. And then the biggest indicator of the quality of these writers, or whatever, however you want to describe it, they also wrote Morbius.
Oh, it's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time. So, like,
okay.
the masterminds behind Morbius also wrote The Last Witch Hunter. So it's like, okay, now I understand why this feels the way it feels.
Morbius is kind of like the last Vampire Hunter, right? Like it's kind of the same. Like I saw it, but like I guess like yeah, it definitely has like the same weird texture to it.
Jeez, I would say this one's more of a movie. Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius is just a string of like comic book cliches.
That's fair. That's
You guys know me. I'm super positive about films, but watching Morbius, I'm like, this isn't it. Like, this is not. This is a. I was like, this isn't it. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not a movie. It's a movie, but it's not a movie. Last Witch Hunter has a through line.
Yeah,
it definitely does. It has a plot. Like the story is easy to follow. I like that part of it. Like even though they throw you into it, and there's like they add characters, and like they're also weird, and there's a witch bar, whatever. It has a you can follow. It's good.
And also, Dean Semler shot it. This is the dude who shot Mad Max. Like,
yeah, this is. I have that written down. So he not only
Young Guns,
he shot Mad Max, but he also shot Dances with Wolves, like an Academy Award-winning movie. He also shot Bruce Almighty and Click and 2012 and Maleficent and Cocktail and Triple X. It's like this guy is just like, I'll take your job. Like he's all over the place, but these are huge movies.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of hits in there. There's some big hits.
And Breck knows what he's doing. He's very workmanlike. The Crazies remake is one of my favorite remakes that I've watched in a long time. I love the efficiency of it. I think it's just gorgeous to look at. And he just knows how to shoot. And I think Dean Semler knows how to shoot. And the actors know how to act, obviously, in this. So it's very... I just love it. I don't care.
It's a cool portrayal of New York, too.
Yeah,
I kind of like this, like, New York with, like, a weird, like... witchcraft underground situation going on. Like, you know, sometimes we watch a lot of movies that are like, oh, this is like a shitty portrayal of New York, and like granted there's like, you know, they just like Ben has an apartment that faces Central Park, sure, whatever, right? But like at the same time it's like it's pretty cool. Like that's not too bad. Like there's taxis and shit. Like they did a good job.
Because it's new, right? This is a new story. This is an original IP. And it's just that's what I love about it. It's even if the movie sort of falters a little bit, at least there's a butterfly kitchen in this movie. There's Elijah Wood in a turtleneck.
Yeah.
There's a tree I wouldn't want in my front yard. It's just a bunch of things that are new that I want. And even if it doesn't hit on all levels, at least they're trying. And that's just what makes me so happy. Also, I love Vin's coat. He wears that coat. The coat doesn't wear him. He looks great, by the way.
I also love about Vin in this movie that it feels like there's like 15 minutes in a row of this movie where he's just walking around saying, hey, don't eat that. Like they go to the bakery and
Don't
they like
eat that.
walk behind and then they're like, you want a cupcake? And Elijah's like, oh my God, thank you. Yeah, please. And Vin's like, don't eat that. And then they go behind the scenes and they're just like making all the food with like bugs and stuff. And do they explain why? Or it's just like it's witch stuff?
They're mind-altering mind-altering bugs that they use to like control the people, and it's so.
And then like he goes outside and there's just like somebody like a kid who like thinks that like the world is made of candy. He's like, don't eat that. And then like the kid wakes up and like it's just like rotten apples. But it's like you just did the don't eat that. Like that's not what you think it is. And then you go outside and you do the same exact thing again. It's like again, 2 bites of the same apple. I don't know why you're doing that, but I love that like it's back-to-back scenes. You're just like, hey man, don't eat that.
That's amazing. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he comes up on the candy.
Was there like some kind of weird Pizzagate thing happening under that? That's what I'm assuming, right? They're like luring in children to like assault them.
Yeah, with the gummy bears?
Yeah, I think so, right? Like that's what it was.
Yeah, so because they're like the Breck said they were harkening back to Hansel and Gretel, or Gretel and Hansel.
Okay.
As Perkins, but he said it's kind of one of those lead them with candy. I have a question, y'all. What candy would lead y'all in there?
Oh, Sour Patch Kids.
This is a dirty. Oh yeah.
Like it pretty much instantaneous. Sour Patch Kids, Warheads. I love the sour candy. I'm a candy whore to begin with. One.
You know, I don't think this is really like a hidden brand because I think they're all it's you can find it anywhere. But the Albanese.
No, Haribo always.
Albanese gummy bears, man, they're so good. They're so good.
They're too chewy. I like the Haribo, and I like to open the bag and let them like sit open for a night.
You want them to get stale?
Yeah, because they get like real like hard and gummy.
I don't know. I don't want that. I want the soft, chewy. No, I want.
I'm gonna do this.
Chewy.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put them in a little Tupperware, leave the lid a little open.
I'm telling
And
you,
revisit
let
it
them get
later.
like a nice 2 or 3 days of air on them. Like leave them in the bag, just leave the bag open, and then they get really more
Like little
stiff.
rocks. Yeah.
No. They never hit rock point. They just get gummier to where it's one long chewy candy. And actually, to be honest, we when we buy a bag of them, we do that. Like we open them and eat them the next day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I would do Werther's Originals.
What you do, Grandpa?
Yeah. One time I found one in a cardigan pocket, and I swear to you, I didn't even know it was in there. And it was one of the proudest moments of my life.
Did you?
I swear, that's not even a bit. I'm not even marking a bit. I reached into my pocket of my cardigan, gray cardigan, I pulled out a Werther's Original. Don't know how
Was
old
there
it
one
was.
of the little strawberry guys in there that nobody knows where you buy, but they always exist in your grandma's house?
Exactly. In the other pocket, yeah. I pulled that Werther's Original out, and that was one of the proudest moments of my life. I'm like, I'm there.
I do love Werther's. I'm just laughing about the.
It just gives you something to do for a while.
Right.
I house candy, so it's nice to have a hard candy to kind of appreciate.
There you go.
For
See,
a
that's
couple
why
minutes.
you let the gummy bears get stale because you don't eat them because you have to really fucking chew them. If you let them get a little stale, it's
So
good.
you live life on the edge, and I love it. That's crazy.
That is the
view's
only
great,
time that's
though.
ever been said about gummy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're crazy, man. Have you seen that Dennis Rodman, Tim Duncan commercial for eating your pizza backwards for Pizza Hut? Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy.
Can you guys confirm, is this the first time we've ever seen Vin Diesel wielding a sword? It feels like he's held a sword in every other movie he's ever made, but I can't
Chronicles
think of
of
another time where
Riddick?
he actually swings a sword.
Did he have a sword in Chronicles of Riddick?
I don't know. I was thinking that's where I went first.
He does other things as
No, he has the
weapons.
2 knives. He has the 2 knives, remember?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
This is Renaissance Middle Ages him as an actual badass in a way that he's embodied before, but I don't think we've ever actually seen before.
When I have my notes circled: bow and arrow Vin Diesel, need more. So yeah, I would love to have bow and arrow Vin, sword Vin, mace Vin.
The thing, so when he had that scepter, I was watching that part and I was like, this is pretty much shot for shot of Vin trying to beat up anybody in the Fast and the Furious with a wrench. he was wielding it the exact same way he would do with a giant ass adjustable wrench, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing with Vin's gonna be pretty. I read a review for Bloodshot once where they're like, the action isn't balletic. I'm like, it's a Vin Diesel movie.
Yeah.
This isn't the Raid
He's
2.
clunky. He just feels clunky, right?
You don't watch Bloodshot and go, the violence wasn't like a ballet. It's dude's gonna he's just gonna wing a wrench at you. It's just gonna hurt. He's not gonna do the little twists. There's gonna be no Chris Hemsworth. I've been watching a lot of Chris movies and the Huntsman movies. He's all flinging that sword everywhere, doing little flips and stuff. Vin ain't flipping anything. He's just gonna hit you with it.
He's too big. His shoulders are too broad for Vin to ever look ballet. You know what I mean? Graceful. He can't look graceful. He's just too big. The Rock is never gonna look graceful either, right? It's just
Who would
that's
look better
how it
with
goes.
nunchucks, Dwayne Johnson or Vin Diesel?
Ooh, maybe The Rock, just because of his wrestling experience, and he could sell that he knows how to do them.
I think it's also more embodied of the Samoan Samoa, the whole indigenous.
Oh, he does do the dance. You're right. He does a lot
the
of
haka.
dancing. Yeah.
Just add a nunchuck into that. Vin, no.
I think after we watch Vin Diesel's breakdancing thing later this lap, we might have a different story. But as of right now, I think more of what The Rock embodies, his Polynesian roots. I think that it just gives him the edge there. But I don't.
It would still look awkward because I think they'd be really small for both of them, right?
They would have to be
you'd be like, "What do you
industrial
got?"
grade. It's like in Hobbs and Shaw when he's on a motorcycle and he just dwarfs the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have to be industrial grade nunchucks.
They would need to make nunchucks out of something that isn't nunchucks. You know what I mean? They would have to rip out 2 cement pillars or something that is tied together by a chain link fence or
cinder
something.
blocks,
Yeah.
cinder blocks with a steel chain in between them, and
I got
he
it.
whips those around. Yeah.
The pieces of wood from Walking Tall.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You just need something that like I just watched before we started recording. I watched Enter the Dragon, and like at the end when Bruce Lee gets nunchucks, it's like okay, cool.
Yes.
Like they
Yes.
look like they belong in his hands. Like for a dude who's like 270 and all muscle, it's like that's not gonna like. You're stronger than that. Like you can do big. Like, not that Bruce Lee's not, but like it feels like that's appropriate. Like here, it's just like you need something that like your leg is the size of Bruce Lee. Like what are you doing with like nunchucks?
That's a great point. That's like that Far Side comic where they come across a rhino or an elephant. And they're like, watch out, it's got a knife. It's like the rhino or elephant has a tiny little knife in their hands. Like that's exactly it right there. Watch out, Vin's got nunchucks.
Yeah. It's like, no, he also has like huge biceps and like a car that he can like flip through the air. But, you know.
I'm going to be honest. I would be more afraid of Vin by himself than I would be with Vin with nunchucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think 100%. The big sword thing, though, I get that. Like, if you give him, like, he has a wingspan and, like, shoulders, like, the sword is intimidating. But,
like if you think about, like, in terms of, like, video game character creation, like, the sword is, like, a strength attribute, and, like, the nunchucks are, like, a dexterity, right? Like, it's a different build. And Vin is not fooling anybody with a dex build. Although apparently, so the IMDb trivia says that the main character is based partly on his D&D character who's named Melkor, Melkor, who was a witch hunter, and he used the D&D books to create the character class. He liked being a ranger, but also liked using a few spells too. So he's a hybrid here, where he's a little bit magic, but also like mostly just like good from range. And so I don't know that that's necessarily what we think of when we think of Vin. But it's what he's embodying here, and it's mostly working.
I think this is like you pick the thing that you're the least of, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't think that this is like the Vin, Mark Sinclair, Dom situation that we encountered when we were talking about the last movie. Like, I think that, like, Vin, Mark, and Dom are not good from range, so his D&D character was something he couldn't be, right? Like this is a hand-to-hand guy. Like, he's big. Like, he's not, like, sneaking around anywhere. No, everybody's gonna fucking see this guy.
Yeah, Vin as a ranger doesn't work. It's like the Dolph Lundgren movie where he's the name of it's like Hidden Assassin. I'm like, where's Dolph Lundgren hiding?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not gonna happen. What about you? Do you guys have D&D characters?
No.
I bought like a starter kit. Like it's not called a starter kit, but it was like the guide and like whatever. Like it was like a, hey, you want to do this thing, and like here's all the things. And like I bought it, and I'm like, I'm never gonna play this. And I wound up somehow selling it for a lot more than I bought it for, which was nice. But I'm just like, I want to get into this. I'm just like, I don't have time for this. Like we've had two different people at least. I think was one of them you? No, maybe not one's you. No, different people who have like said like we could put together Fast and Furious D&D campaigns, and I'm like, cool. Let's figure out how to do it for the podcast. And then like one was right before COVID. Like Lars wanted to do it. And like we're like, cool. It's like it's February 2020, and then it just never happened. Like the idea of it is appealing to me, but also like I would rather do almost anything else with those like 100 hours of campaigning, or you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And that's not a knock against that. Like I would just like I have so many different things that I love doing. I would rather
real friends. Like you need like friends that'll like.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, not to you. I'm saying like that was inward, not outward, Joey.
I get it. No. It's just a funny thing. It's just like you also need like people who want to spend time with you.
Yes, and like you want to spend time with them and like talk, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm I have totally extroverted jobs, but when I get home, I'm like straight introvert, Mark. So yeah, having to like meet up with people every week sounds pretty rough.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Man, maybe like once every other month. But if I was a D&D character, I would just be like a brick. I don't think I'd want to be a ranger or anything. Yeah, I would just give me a hammer and give me a large helmet, and I'm happy.
But I think that is that so listening to Con Air, the podcast, I've learned so much more about like your growing up and your childhood and everything, like in ways that I did not think I was going to, because you feel like an open book in ways that like you have tomes upon tomes of backstory. Is that like, is you with a big sword and like a helmet, like, is that how you would describe your, like if real life were a D&D campaign, like, is that how you lived your life? Or like Joe was saying, I think like it's not what you are. You're going out of your way. Like Vin is not a ranged fighter. He's a muscle. So like him playing a ranger kind of makes sense as a complimentary, like being what you're not. Like, is you with a big sword and helmet, like, is that how you have lived your life aside from being a quarter mile at a time?
Yeah, I would say so because I played tennis in Florida and I was good. Like I made states and all that, but everyone told me I played like a linebacker. Like nothing I did was pretty. When I wrestled, like I made regionals, but I had one move. When I was a bouncer, I had one move. Like I never had I was never a nunchucker. I was just kind of like a dude. Like when I boxed, like I wasn't like as much as I wanted to be Ali. I was more of like a George Foreman.
Okay.
So yeah, I was very much so like just like forward. Like
So you would lean into your strengths as opposed to like exploring something new. You're like, I know that I'm good at this. I'm going to lean into this with my character as well.
And like my attention span too. Like I couldn't be an archer because you gotta sit there and be patient. Like you just gotta like watch. Like,
You're not Mark Wahlberg in Shooter. You're not Chris Kyle, American Sniper.
No. If I had to be a sniper, I would fail. Like Mark, you missed the target. Like what? Like just give me a sword and let me run into battle. Like when I played Halo, I had a shotgun. And like I would get blown up, but like people would snipe all around me while I was just like in combat. So like yeah, I'm just straight ahead.
Wait, do you know that Joe and I met playing Halo?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I didn't know that.
We got random match. That's how we met.
Yeah, Halo 2.
Amazing. It's a beautiful game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing game, and I played many hours of it. At one point, like I had stopped playing for a year, and my friend almost caught up to the hours that I had played in like the first 3 months that it came out.
Yeah, I was doing like 6 hours a day for the first 9 months it came out. Like it was just like I would come home from school and play until dinner, and then like quick finish my homework, and then play until I went to bed. Like that was every day for almost a year. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And months. My buddy Johnny Party and I, we played.
Wait, hold on. Johnny Party?
Yeah. I know Joey Party. Is he related?
Maybe. They could be party buds. So yeah, my roommate John, everyone called him Johnny Party because of the chillest dude you'll ever meet. And I was in a band with him called Johnny Party and the Furious Funksters for a while.
Okay.
Well, okay, keep going.
We beat Halo 2 on a 12-inch TV. We just like sat really close to the screen playing it. Like that's how we beat it. So like I have good memories of playing that game and going online. And I was never good though. Like people would snipe and I'm like, you're taking this too seriously. Like I wanted to be in the action. Nothing made me happier than sticking a grenade somebody. Even if I blew myself up, like it just felt
pretty
great.
good.
Yeah, that's what I think attracted us to each other. With that, like we were both pretty good. Like not the best in the game, but we were both pretty good. But also like we didn't take it serious. Like we were just like fucking around. Like I had my little group and he had his little group, and just like, oh no, because everybody's just like, all right, like we're gonna like tactically come in. And just like, no man, like I don't. We've played this map. We've played Beach at Zanzibar like 80 times today. Like I don't need to like we know what we're doing. Like let us just fuck around. And so like just having other people who like are good at the game but not taking it seriously, like so if we got randomly matched up with you two, Mark, like that you would have been in our party for sure.
I think so.
Chaos. There's a scene in Everybody Wants Some that I adore where Wyatt Russell's playing foosball with some people, but they're way too good.
Yeah.
He's like, man, this is just not fun.
Yeah.
Like that's my vibe when I play those things. Like I'm pretty good. I can hang. But once people start taking it too seriously, I'm out.
Although there is also like the other part. I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. But like when they're playing ping pong and like they're so into it, or like the punching the knuckles games. Like I love that everything becomes a competition. Like I wouldn't love that, but I love watching that. But I agree. Like I don't want to play foosball with people who are taking it seriously. So. Like if you can balance the ball on the little like player, like or if you can bounce it up in the air, just like what are you doing? No, spend less time here.
I would just walk away. I would just go play darts.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone.
Hey, man. Darts is very serious.
Yeah. That's all I played. Like when I don't know, I lived in Korea for a while and I had the record on the dart machine at my local bar.
Oh.
Yeah. I had like I think I hit like a 3-point something. So
180.
I finished a thing every time I went up one round. It was awesome. Like I was flying. I was like Icarus at that moment, y'all. It was wonderful. I was just red hot. It was amazing. I feel like I probably could have beaten up Vin Diesel, punch him in the back a couple times, take him out. That's how good I felt.
You know what else I love about this movie is that at the end, Rose Leslie, when everything is like gotten back to normal, Rose Leslie says, "Besides, you still owe me $50,000." It's like, hey, you still owe me a 10-second car, but she's just like, you owe and then, we made a deal. You owe me money.
Finish it, and then she drifts the car sideways and drives off into the sunset.
Beast,
badass.
And her bar was booming, y'all. Did you see the business she was doing? And those drinks can't be cheap because that's like very boutique, artisanal, witchy stuff.
It was a mixologist witch bar.
I wrote down that Vin drinks memory potions instead of Coronas. Like it's just like these are all like magic, and like she knows how to like fend off the dudes who are just like shamelessly hitting on her. Like she is so confident here. Like I think my least favorite part of the movie is when she like in a very 80-yard like runs away like it's all I ever had. It's like no, like this character is like better than that. Like it's not like oh no, like she would figure out a way to like get that bar back up. You know what I mean? But like to sort of like have her off screen sort of shout as she runs away like you ruined everything. It's like that's not who she is though. Like she's so confident. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, what a great, and she puts the stuff in the cherry to make it taste better. Like she's just making sure Vin doesn't taste a bunch of gross potions. Like he gets a nice cherry drop.
Yeah.
Drink. There's no way. How is there no water spells for witches in this movie? Like the bar's on fire and she tries to like fire extinguish it. It's a completely out. I'm like, bro, you're a witch. You have a whole mess of potions on that wall, and you try to put it out with a fire extinguisher. Like. That was the least realistic part of this movie in a movie about the last witch hunter with Vin Diesel.
That's really interesting because I thought it was pretty industrious that she pulled out the fire extinguisher, but I didn't even think about a potion that could have just...
She just witched it.
Yeah, witched
it. Done.
I think a lot of this movie is like hashtag not all witches. It's like, you know that thing that like you think about witches? Like we're not all like that. And it's like, yeah, of course witches use fire extinguishers. Like why would we use up our mana on like a spell? You know what I mean? Like it's just like what you think you know about witches? This is a new witch.
And I like too that she has this really beautiful garden in her home. I love her apartment, by the way. The lighting in her apartment is just beautiful. And in her shop, like she's full of life and green vegetation. And then you have the witch who just has that gross tree and everything's death. So you kind of have this yin and yang of witches here. It's not subtle, but I really like how they do it. Like there's very earthy witches. There's in tune with nature. And then there's ones who just want to leash plague flies.
Yeah.
Plague flies are the most boring apocalypse. I got to tell y'all. It's like watching Thor Love and Thunder and Christian Bale's like, all right, shadow monsters, go fight. You're like, oh no. Like, not this. It's like, it's like, unleash the CGI flies. You're like, oh.
Yeah, the bug thing. I was like, like they beat him again. Okay.
Well, because like that feels like the kind of thing that like you escape by getting to modern day. Like it feels like if we were in like the 1500s, like okay, yeah, like flies make sense. But I feel like modern day, like you could do other stuff with it.
Yeah, just. Unleash the flies.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I want to see Vin with a big can of Raid, just like done, and just like killed him. Got it. Be like, bitch, we invented Raid since you've been back, and like you're over.
You know Zoe Saldana in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and she has that rocket on her shoulder. It's just Vin like that, but with a can of Raid.
Would love it.
Just blasting it.
This is also the kind of movie where, like, this kind of line, I think you would... Maybe it's either the movie or just Vin, but it's the kind of line that, like, in a bad movie, you're like, ugh. But, like, here, he says, you know, the benefit to eternal life, I get to kill you twice. It's like, that doesn't really make sense, but I love it. Like, it's dumb, but it's delivered by Vin in exactly the right kind of movie for that line. It's just like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then she's like, this isn't who you are. It's all that I am. But only Vin can pull that off. I really do. Like give Vin any line and he can sell it. Just, yes, I want that burrito. Like it's
like I think that he is very similar to Keanu. Like you were talking about Keanu in like one of the more recent Con Air episodes, Mark, because like you're talking about Cage and Keanu, like we've watched all their movies for the network. Like me and Mike have done every episode, and like Keanu overall, not a great actor, but when you find what Keanu is good at, he is great in that role. Like there are 3 or 4 different kinds of archetypes, or like blank slate, or like FBI, like cop, like there are athlete, like there are things he can do where it's like, oh, this guy was born to do this. And then you put him in like a romantic lead or something, just like, ooh, this is not really. And like Vin, I think objectively not a good actor, but when he's in his lane, he has the charm and the charisma and like everything, like the screen presence to like land it. And it's like, yeah, like I can't imagine anybody else as the last witch hunter. Like it has to be Vin.
And he's really protected he's found directors and people he can work with who can kind of protect him on screen. And so I think he does need to take that lead as a producer, because like that he knows his lane. He's going to stay in his lane and he's comfortable with it. Like sometimes what I like about Keanu is Keanu will take chances, but sometimes the directors just don't protect him in those movies. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula, right? Francis Ford Coppola was too afraid to be like, hey man, watch it, because he was so nice and he was trying so hard.
even at that point in his career, like he had done kind of nothing. Like he'd been like in
Yeah.
comedies, but like he hadn't done anything that was like approaching like what Dracula was trying to do. Like you should have, like I don't know if he would have been good in that Into the Harker role, but like he could have been better.
Yeah, I just don't think he got the notes he needed.
No.
I don't think Coppola, like, I think Coppola went, oh my gosh, but he's like, he's such a nice guy and he's trying so hard that I'm not going to ride him hard, if that makes sense. So by doing that, I think I mean, Keanu's still being called out today because Coppola even said, like, yeah, I was just afraid to give him notes because he's such a nice guy. Vin doesn't need that, though. Vin knows his lane. He's not, Pacifier, he tried, but he was fine in that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Like, there's things that he's done because I feel like every action star is like, I need to do the family friendly, like not just like family friendly action, but yeah, like a family friendly, like PG rated movie. And they're like, yeah, that's not really for me, or whatever, right? Or like you like really lean into that and like you do a bunch of them or whatever. But yeah, he knows what he's doing and he's sticking with it. Like you don't make like Bloodshot feels like an evolution of this kind of thing. Where just like I'm gonna do like another stab at an action thing that's maybe based on a property, maybe not, but feels like it is, right? So
you guys were saying it earlier. He's really, really whittled down that like in the same sense that I respect Adam Sandler for just taking his family on vacation every movie. Vin just wants to make 100 Dungeons and Dragons movies.
Yes.
And, like, if he wants to do that, fucking do it. You're just living the dream, bud. Like, that's cool by me. And, like, you can see that he really enjoys doing it. I don't even know if he gets the same enjoyment out of the Fast and Furious as he does making these fucking Dungeons and Dragons
I don't know. And, like, if you look at his IMDb or his wiki, like, COVID probably messed this up a little bit. But, like, the last, like, since 2016 or 17... aside from Bloodshot, he has only played Dom or Groot. Like that's all. That's just his lane. Like he's just like, these are my guys. Like this is what I'm doing. And I think it's because like both of those franchises like make more movies than anything else. But like, he's found what he wants to do, and what he wants to do is action. And it's like, cool. Like own it.
It's like,
but not even action. He wants to do like Dungeons and Dragons characters that he thinks up himself, and like possibly make him into a franchise if he can. And like that's cool. He's like, yeah, I'll be the last witch hunter for 17 movies if I can. I'll be Triple X for 17, Riddick for 17 movies if I like. He'll do it.
He's just, I'm telling y'all, he's just like Fast and Furious in 2001. And you guys know this, so I'm preaching to the choir, but I just love what it's become. Like just almost 10 films deep, $1 billion grossing movies, diverse cast, James Wan, F. Gary Gray, John Singleton, Justin Lin directing. Like this dude is like, he's cool. Like I think he's brought the world a gigantic franchise that is fun and diverse and wonderful and loved universally. So it's I just got a lot of admiration for the dude. Like I don't know, I like it. It's Vin works for me, and I like this. You're right though. In this movie, you can see him smiling when he's walking around the garden. He has this big smile on his face. Yeah, he's like a super stylish detective. He's not a detective, but he is the detective. But he's just loving. He's like the witch prison, the Necronomicon, the Hexenbane, the big witch. You know, like he's just talking about all these curses, and you could just see the. He's just so happy. He's so happy.
So we're pitching this right, and I think that like we can say that like him bringing these people together, having them on different movies. We can say that we can see that Vin's probably a really good networker and people person, but that's not how he's perceived right now. Do you think that he is a good networker and people person, or do you think he's not?
I think when you're as big as he is, like you just like you can get things done. Like you don't need to know how to network. I think people can come to you.
Just Helen Mirren though, she's come back. Like you
that's
get
what
Helen
I mean.
Mirren.
You can't be like a shitbag that bad. Like we teeter back and forth. We're like, is it like him, The Rock, their egos, them together, whatever?
Well, they don't work together. They can't push each other around, so they just can't exist in the same world. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my theory at least. Also, James Gunn works with Vin on Guardians, and James Gunn doesn't want a Black Adam 2 with Dwayne Johnson. So I wonder if there's like
that's a good point. We never thought. Yeah, we never thought about that or talked about that.
But I don't know. Like Jason Momoa loves Vin. Allison, not
Brie Larson.
Yeah, Brie Larson. Like she joined Fast. Like, and she's totally cool with Vin. Like she'll speak up if she's not happy about something. She's an Oscar winner with Captain Marvel. All this stuff about Vin, I know that his interview, I know what he's like with interviews and all that, but I don't care. I'm just a big fan of the dude.
While we're on the topic of Brie Larson, so this episode comes out for patrons in a couple days, but it comes out for the main feed on Tuesday. This Friday is the Fast X trailer.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this and if you're going to, because the trailer comes out 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on Friday.
I swear to God, I'm skipping work so that I can watch a trailer and talk.
It's very funny. I believe it. It's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and if you're going to watch a trailer and you want to be included, like you want to share your thoughts, email family@cageclub.me. We'll read on the episode, but like really watch the trailer, take a couple minutes to like figure out what you want to say, and then email like almost immediately because we're going to record almost immediately. But Mark, you brought up Brie Larson. We know almost nothing about Fast X. We know who's been cast. We don't know like what Brie Larson is playing. We don't really know what Jason Momoa is playing other than like a peacocky kind of villain. What are your predictions for either the movie or the trailer? Because like it could go literally any direction because we know nothing about it. But you brought up Brie Larson. You talk about, people flocking to Vin.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? What are you hoping to see in this next Fast movie?
It's going to be a mess. Fast 9 was insane. There's going to be way too many characters.
Okay.
It's going to be Justin Lin left. Louis, Letterer jumped in. Lettier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he jumped in. It's just going to be bonkers. I guarantee the trailer.
And like Justin Lin leaves like a week into shooting.
That poor guy looks so depressed on set. But yeah, it's going to be huge jump. There's going to be a bunch of cars in the air. It's going to be someone going, punch it. It's going to go, someone go, watch out. And then it's going to be Tyrese going, oh, man, why are we doing this? And then it's going to be Ramsey going, oh, man, like, oh, gosh. And then Letty's going to go, just keep going. And then Momoa's going to be like, ah. And that's pretty much it. That's going to be the trailer.
Do you think we get John Cena back?
Man, yeah, he comes back. You see a shadow
because
of
we
him.
added like 4 people.
Yeah.
And John Cena from the last time. Like, and we already had way too many people.
And there's also the reports. They're not really confirmed. They're sort of on the like, it could be true, it could not be true. But there are supposedly reports that Giselle is coming back.
Yeah, so we're adding another person.
We don't know
back.
how. Yeah. Do you think she's back in flashbacks? Did she not die? Do you have predictions on that?
Her and Brie Larson are going to pull up on motorcycles at the end of the trailer, take off their helmets.
Ooh.
And then they're going to go, let's go.
Okay.
Girl time, baby.
Yeah. And they're going to do it in a better way than
weird.
Endgame. Yeah. And then Ludacris is going to be like, hit enter, hack them. And then Lucas Black is going to go punch it.
Oh, you think Lucas Black's going to be back in this one? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then Sun Kang is going to go, because he's going to be eating chips.
Do you think we'll actually, because like F9 promised justice for Han. We did not get justice for Han. Like they didn't even,
we're going to have fucking Jason Statham back too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you think we're actually going to get justice for Han in this movie, or is that like just like handled between movies off screen?
I mean, he's back. That's justice. Like he's here. He's there.
But he has not avenged the fact that Deckard tried to kill him, unless he was also working for Mr. Nobody, who we also think might be evil. I don't know.
Listen, if Deckard wanted him dead, he'd be dead. He's cool. Like I bet you they just look at each other and they're like, "Yo, it's all good." Listen, like Cypher. Wait,
she still exists too. Yeah. She's still in it. So
everyone forgives each other in this movie. Like Han was dead. Vin's baby's mom was killed, and I bet that in this movie they're gonna be like, Cypher, I know you killed the love of my. Well, she wasn't the love of my life. Letty's the love of my life, and it's convenient that you got rid of her because now we don't have to like worry about her and everything. But I'm still pretty chuffed about it. And she's gonna go, well, I speak in a monotone voice, and I'm just here to help you because you got to deal with this person.
Some Star Wars reference.
Yeah. And then Vin's gonna go, all right, ride or die, and then they're gonna be best buds, and she's gonna be as barbecue. That's it. And then like the kid's gonna be glowering at her by now because the kid's older. Like, man, that lady and that dude from Game of Thrones killed my mom.
It's gonna be 3 hours long, but it's just one scene because everybody has to have their own part of the conversation. And by the time we get through the whole roster of characters,
So it's Rashomon, but it's just one scene, and it's 3 hours long because there's 45 characters in the scene.
Yep,
yeah,
it's
they're all
just
like,
one
"What
barbecue.
happened last time?" And it's just a recap of F9 and the series up until then, because this is the first one of 2. So they just do like a 3-hour recap of what has happened, and everybody kind of just like airs their grievances, and then everybody's friends to go fight something else.
Yeah, at the final, they're all going to team up and go, yeah, and then they're going to cut it. And that's where Fast 11's going to start.
Perfect.
Right there. It's
Okay.
going to be Ryan Johnson directed. It's going to be a murder mystery at a barbecue. But it's going to be silly. It's going to be bloated.
So you think Knives Out 3 is also going to be Fast 11?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Oh, I hope that they actually take the script of Knives Out 3 and it never gets made. And much like Fast and the Furious 5 being Italian Job 2, that they just totally rework the script to just include Fast and the Furious characters, and that's what we get. Is that that's like my ultimate dream. Now that you guys just said that, I would love it.
It's a
Let's
Ryan
do it.
Johnson whodunit.
Yeah.
Just make fans so mad. My life is wrecked. Ah! I just hope it's coherent. That's all I want out of Fast 10. That's it.
That's a tall ask.
I want candy bars in space.
One of our listeners, I don't remember if it was Anna Bellina or someone on Twitter, was just like, they were asking about, character, like a motivation for thing, and that they realized, oh, we don't know anything about any of these characters. I'm like, yeah, all the backstory that we assign is basically, to a certain extent, like things that we've made up on the podcast. Like, the movies have too many characters now to explain or to give any explanation or justification for why anyone does anything. It's just like, you wronged me. It's like, well, why? It's like, we don't have time for that. Like, you wronged me. And
This is a 3-hour movie. We don't have time for that.
Exactly. And so it's weird, but I coherent I think would be a good goal. I think you're right there, Mark. And we'll Joe, you and I will dive deeper into this both on the trailer episode and our hype episode, but I just want character moments. I feel like that's what F9 did in a way that a lot of other movies didn't, where it was just we know that you love these characters, we're gonna just hang out with them.
Put Nathalie Emanuel in a car with magnets and just have her.
Yeah.
What is happening? It's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And, wait, I was going to say something, but I lost it. It was there. It won't come back.
Do you have any other thoughts about The Last Witch Hunter?
What did you all think about the modeling place? Did you all like the models?
Oh,
in there doing
I have a note about that. Joe, do you know where that was shot?
The
Pittsburgh.
modeling place?
sorry.
What's the modeling place?
There was the fashion show scene. Mark just spoiled it. I don't know if you heard him.
No, what guy?
The Carnegie Museum at the University of Pittsburgh.
Really? That's where my prom was.
Yeah.
That's
Your
literally
prom.
where I had prom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did not know that or remember. Sorry, I saw something today. I saw a video today about Fashion Week where somebody was like, Fashion Week is too performative and not enough fashion. And so maybe that kind of just linked itself to this in my head. I saw that on Twitter or something. So no, I don't remember the fashion part at all. But that's really cool that it was at the Carnegie Museum and the Museum of Natural History, the Museum of
the Carnegie
Art?
Museum at the University of Pittsburgh. That's all. That's the entire. I don't know where specifically. It just said the Carnegie Museum.
Okay, so yeah, that's probably the Natural History Museum. That's cool. That's really cool. I've been there a billion times.
Mark, what do you think of that scene?
It's something new I've never seen. This lady's like, I got you, Kaulder. His name's Kaulder, by the way, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
But everybody
Kaulder.
says it differently. Somebody says Kaulder, somebody says Kaulder. He says Kaulder. There's 4 different pronunciations of this name.
Yeah, if you think about how he talks, Kaulder, that's Southern. Call. How would he say it? Kaulder. Call. I feel like there's 3
and then you
L's
have
in
Michael
there.
Caine saying something different because he's British. Yeah, I get it.
Kaulder. Just very nasally. But it's something different. He's just witches and fashion and magic and fashion and why not? She's smoking. They said that she had to smoke a hookah till about 6 a.m. in the morning. She wasn't happy about that.
Oh, okay.
She's in Yellowstone now, but I haven't seen the final episode, so I don't know if she's still in it. I don't know, something different, right? I like him going around this world. You have the butterfly kitchen, you have the witch prison, you have the fashion shows, the witch bars. It's just a new world. You're right. This is a detective story. He's just kind of driving around in his sweet car, checking stuff out.
Talking to babes.
Yeah. Where's that accent from? Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I've been there
Yeah,
forever.
some weird. Hey, some weird. That was one of the strangest most awesome parts. He's like, "Yeah, where's your accent?" She has no accent, zero. And he's like, "Yeah, tell me about growing up in wherever."
How'd you
Like,
know?
how did you smell that out, Vin? Like, there's no hint of any of this.
And I love too. They're like Napoleon, Hitler, Stalin. Like I've been there for all of them. It's like really. Like,
Yeah,
what?
were they witches? Like, what were you trying to imply there? I don't know.
I think it just means he's seen everything, right? Like
Okay.
he's just been around.
I saw the general in the movie theater.
It's also weird to brag about being there. It's like you didn't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, and you're immortal.
He's hunting witches. He's hunting witches.
I guess he is immortal. He doesn't have powers, but he can't die. So yeah, that is literally the definition of immortal. Asked and answered.
I mean, witches could have been working for all of them, and he could have been battling them, like Saving Private
they
Ryan.
had like a
3 miles
coterie of
down the
witches.
road, it's could
Yeah.
have been Kaulder battling witches in another town.
So you think Vin Diesel's character in Saving Private Ryan is the same character as Kaulder?
Yeah, and he faked his death
Wow.
to get behind enemy lines
Ooh,
to battle-
I like that a lot.
to battle French witches.
Okay.
Actually, German
Okay.
witches. And who knows? I mean, Riddick could be him in the future. Wait, what?
Ooh, space witches.
I mean, he gets involved with those like Judi Denches who can evaporate. Or no, that's
Apparate?
water. Yeah, that's water.
You were close. You were in the ballpark.
Yeah, she can pop up at will. So yeah, I mean, listen, he never dies, and he
You're
defeats Batista, who's in Knives Out too. So now we have a direct connection.
Oh, I like it.
And he doesn't wear a sleeveless shirt in this movie, y'all.
No, that's what I was thinking. He looks very utilitarian. It was like a male version of Letty's clothing choices.
Do you picture Calder wearing a sleeveless shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Because it's Vin. So,
I think
yeah.
I think when you have arms like that, like he does sometimes. I know that he accessorizes because of course you would when you have like a wardrobe as probably as expansive as his. But like, I think for sure, like during the day, I think mostly at night he puts on a nice jacket. But I think during the day, yeah, I can see it.
Tank top.
You don't think so,
always.
No, I feel like he's always wearing that like a button up. That's the way he lives his life.
You can wear a button up with no sleeves. Like Dom has done that.
Oh, that's a great point.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
But I don't know. I see him sleeving. I always see him in long sleeves. I don't know why. In my head, I'm not picturing a sleeve. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Fair enough. Oh, he drives an Aston Martin
Yep.
Rapide S. That's his car of choice in this.
Aston Martin. Yeah, he does have a British car, which is interesting.
What do y'all think about the heel turn of Elijah Wood?
It's just, I think it's
Oh, God.
obvious, kind of, because I think that,
Obvious and kind of lazy.
yeah.
But like in that sense, it was comforting, right? Like it was like I was like, okay, yeah. Like I'll take it. He was like, the witches. You saved me from the witches. And he was like, the witches were my parents. And you're like, okay, cool, gotcha, bud. Like Frodo, leave us alone. We're trying to hunt witches here, and like you're a weird young priest that is way too into witches. So just stop.
And then the Witch Queen's like, "Oh, you're just a traitor human." Done.
Yeah, she just zaps him.
Sweet.
Beat him, bead.
Never try to resurrect old witches. That was my high school yearbook quote. Nothing good happens. Nothing good. Hocus Pocus 2, The Last Witch Hunter. Like just
True.
stop resurrecting
Let
witches.
sleeping witches lie.
Yeah,
And don't save like relics from old witches either. Like don't just let them be. Burn all the shit
Yeah,
that they have.
stop touching shit. If it looks old
Yeah.
and weird and haunted, don't touch it. Just let it be there.
If there's a rune on the ground, just kick it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I live my life, and so far I've never had to battle an evil witch. So I've been successful.
Yeah.
Now, how many people have? Like that you hear about it all the time. So I'm just staying in my lane, not resurrecting witches or trolls.
Joe, do you have any other thoughts, any other notes about The Last Witch Hunter?
No. Vin with a beard was kind of weird.
Well, I like that.
I don't know how
I think it was in Riddick, the newest Riddick, where he had like long hair. I'm like, I like this. You're like, I don't. I'm like, I just like seeing, because like we see him bald and clean shaven in like everything else, and to see him look like he's in God of War, it's like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the braided beard, I think actually looked kind of good on him, but like it was weird. It just didn't feel right because like we see him like kind of scruffy, but never with like a full beard. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I didn't. Shut up. Do you hear him just yelling?
You got a cat?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I had 2 brother cats, but that one's just bitching because I'm talking.
You know, you need to get 2 more boy cats. You can have 4 brothers, and you can call one of
4 brothers.
one of them Tyrese, and one of them Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, gosh.
And then Milo and Pierre.
That works perfect. I love it. Andre 3000.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, that was my last note. Sorry.
Mark, anything else? Or do you want to watch the trailer? A trailer I'm sure I've seen a bunch of times in theaters because I feel like they probably pushed the hell out of this to no avail. But any other thing before we watch the trailer?
I think the finest moment of Vin in this movie when he's like, "I could have killed all of you. I've done the math, and I could wipe you out." Like that was a very powerful line reading by him. And I like that everyone's like, "Oh, you kill all the witches." He's like, "Listen, y'all, I could have done this 8 years ago, like 400 years ago. I could have wiped you all out." I like that line by him. That was a good line. Also, the witch prison.
I did like it. They had Arkham for witches. It was pretty cool. It was like, we put all the witches in one place. And he's like, oh, shit. That was a terrible idea. And you're like, yeah, it obviously was. You should have kind of spread them out a little bit. But, okay, guys.
Yeah, just put all the witches in one spot with one guard.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yep.
It should have been a metallic boot prison in the middle of nowhere in the ocean.
Yeah, like spy racers, Joey.
Yeah.
The floating.
Even though I think it feels like every season of Spy Racer starts with a prison break from that same prison, like very poor security.
No, it was 1, but there's
I
just
know.
17 of them happening at once.
You could also put a space prison, like a lockout style in outer space, Supermax prison, where the president's daughter goes to visit, and then hostage situation, and Guy Pearce has to save the day.
Here's an apple and a gun.
Love that movie.
Don't talk to strangers. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a glorious, beautiful film. And
Yeah.
they got sued successfully. It kind of makes me happy.
All right, let's watch the trailer. This is posted by Lionsgate Movies 7 years ago, so I'm assuming like in advance of the movie. The Last Witch Hunter 2015 official trailer, in quotes, "Live Forever." Vin Diesel. I've never seen like
I
a
hope it's just some music
subtitle.
video. Yeah, like a title for the
Wake
trailer.
me up. Wake me up inside.
I think it's going to be scored by
Evanescence.
Evanescence. Like 10 years late, which is now 17 years late for us for that song, but maybe
can't
Live
fall
Forever,
down. Wait, I don't
Hunt
know that
Forever.
word. I
The
forget the
Last
song.
Witch Hunter. Okay. Are you guys ready to watch this?
I'm very ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
I can't wake up. Wake me up inside. Good lens. There's a lot of lens flare work in this.
See, there's the good beard.
Imagine
Yeah.
you're in the theaters and you're like, is that Vin Diesel with a beard and
Is
with
this
a
a
wife
Malik
and a
film
daughter?
with Diesel? Oh,
Him
wait.
having to mimic the dance by himself had to be a great shot. Like, I wish I was behind the camera for watching him be like, let me get into character to...
So you're like, wait, is this modern day or is that a flashback? Like, what are we...
Soldier of the Action Cross
Sword.
in a war between one world
Uh-oh, don't eat it.
and the next.
There's been so many witch hunters before me. I'm the last. Hank, Bill.
This honestly, the music sounds Evanescence-y.
It kind of does.
I can't wake
I
up.
forgot that you had to get branded to be the new guy.
Doesn't she have? They have a song called "My Immortal," don't they?
Yes. Yes, they do.
You're a dreamwalker.
A dreamwalker.
Which is weird because there's an actress named Dreama Walker, right? So, like, there's a whole...
The dream world. It's
a good trailer, though.
To fight what's coming.
There's a lot of witches out there, and I'm one of the last. Hunter.
Uh-oh.
And I need you to wake up. You are in a
They shot
See,
those
she
scenes
said,
all
I need you to wake up. There you go.
me up inside. Save me.
For what happens next.
Frozen in time. They're frozen in time. The witches. He's mortal when he does that. When he explodes through the rock creature, he's mortal.
Cool witches that ever walked.
Yeah, he is.
I just got thick skin.
Like, this looks like an Underworld movie. Like, and those movies were
Yes,
successful enough to
yes.
have, like, 7 or 8. Like, I don't know why this flopped so hard.
Things out there.
Just put Vin in leather.
Who says that a witch can't hunt witches?
This is also Rose Leslie at the peak of her egret powers. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You know what I'm afraid of?
the forbidden girlfriend of the star of the biggest show on TV?
That's such a badass line, too. Like, you know what I'm afraid of? Nothing. It's kind of boring, because I'm not scared of anything, because I'm just so good.
You know what I'm scared of? Werewolves. That's why I'm not a werewolf hunter.
You know what I'm scared of? Witches. It's a very, very bad profession I find myself in.
I hate it. You know what stress I have? 800 years of this.
Is the last witchhunter.movie still up? Ooh, please rotate device. Please enlarge your browser. This website's still up. It's a Tumblr now, apparently. Who knows? Anyway.
I can't wake up.
Solid trailer.
It wasn't bad. I don't. Yeah, they kind of gave you what was happening, but also didn't fill in too much, and like there was fun action and didn't spoil the movie terribly. I think it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Mark, I don't know. No, you played this on the Four Brothers episode. So we have one more game. It's the Letterboxd game. So for reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most popular films on Letterboxd, has been seen by 1.3 million people. The Last Witch Hunter, 2015, directed by Breck Eisner, starring Vin Diesel, Rose Leslie, Elijah Wood, has been seen by how many people?
Like, how many people logged it? Do you want me to start, Mark?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna go. It's kind of newer.
Joe is supernaturally good at this game, Mark, and I don't understand it. I feel like in my gut that you're going to get this right.
I'm gonna go 85,000.
Okay, Mark?
37.
In between 37 and 85. Another guess.
75,000.
63.
You're both now too high. One more guess between 37 and 63.
58.
50.
Okay. End of number.
Yeah.
50 period. Okay. No, 45,000. You were a little bit still too high. 45,000.
Okay.
I, for some reason, thought you might get that, Joe, based on, again, nothing, because it's just a guess, but I just thought you might get that. Okay. Average rating.
I laid too much into Michael Caine and Vin Diesel and Frodo and Ingrid all being in this movie. Like, even if it was a flop, like, I think, like, that was a low enough number, but okay, go ahead.
I mean, the narrative is set, guys. Like, the narrative is set about this movie, and it's negative. So I don't think a lot of people are going to give it a chance, and if they do, they're just going to have their arms crossed and want to hate this movie.
Yeah.
Pro wrestler Kurt Angle is also in this movie, and he's the third pro wrestler that Vin has worked with, along with The Rock and Dave Bautista. So he is building up his cadre of wrestlers. Average rating of 2.4, most common a 2, then a 3, then a 2.5. How many people on Letterboxd have put this in their top 4 favorite films of all time?
8.
Okay. Mark?
Let's see. I said 47,000.
Stunningly, Mark is right. Every single person who has logged
seen this movie
has put it in their top 4. No, somewhere in between those two numbers.
Thanks. 25.
What is it? What is it? The everybody loves The Last Witch Hunter. Diane Court is about to know The Last Witch Hunter. No, let's say anything. Never mind.
Generally speaking, it's 0.1%. So it should be 45. It's just like our rule of thumb. Like, that's what we found, that like most movies, 0.1% of people put in their top 4. So it should be 45. I'm telling you, it's not 45. Joe, you said what, 25?
Yeah, I go 25 after I went 8. Yeah.
Mark, do you have one more guess?
15.
Mark, pretty close. It's 13. 13 people.
8 wasn't too bad to start
have
with.
This in their top 4.
Yeah,
Makes
I didn't
sense.
think it was that many.
All right.
It's a watchable movie. Like, there's no Everybody Hurts moment by REM.
No.
The double cross is super quick. It breezes by.
That's a good point that you're saying that. Like, the double cross, you asked us about it, but like they don't harp on it.
No.
Like they don't like repeat it to you to be like, hey, did you see that double cross? They're like, he double crossed him, and like, it was kind of lazy. So like, keep moving.
Yeah, we cast Elijah Wood. You knew it was coming. Like, you're aware too. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it kind of respects the audience in its own way. It's like, that's fine.
Okay.
It's a hangout picture.
So we're going to go to, there's not a lot, 13 people, not a lot of options here. We're going to go to Leonardo Leo at Leo_XS. His number 1 favorite movie of all time is The Last Witch Hunter. I will say I picked him because all 4 of his movies have witch in the title.
The Witch.
The Witch is number 4.
Perfect.
Escape from Witch Mountain.
No.
Oh, good guess.
The Witch 2.
No.
It's a Korean. It came out this past year.
I believe it, but it's not
Blair
in
Witch
Leonardo
Did
Leo's.
you throw us off a little bit? And is Hocus Pocus one of them?
No, the word witch is in the title of
Okay,
all four of these
okay.
movies.
The Blair Witch Project.
No
Oh.
Blair. No Blair.
The Witch Project?
I will say both of these other movies have been mentioned in this episode.
I can do it. I got it. Let's see. Which
The Last Witch?
the Witches?
No. I
Okay.
said one of them and Mark said one of them. It's
My
not
brain
The
is
Love
like a
Witch,
bucket
which
that's
is a
full
great
of
movie.
water. When something new comes in, something leaves. So that's probably gone already. Like it's a full bucket.
Just
I swear.
sloshing around on the microphone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's going on in here. All right, so Witch. I already said it.
I said one, Mark. You and I talked about one briefly. You said one that I wanted to comment on, but I don't have very many nice things to say about it, and I let it go. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. No, the other one we have not mentioned. One we talked about. I confused the other one. I thought one was the Oz Perkins, but it's not that.
Gretel
But
and
it's
Hansel.
similar to that. Very, 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 very similar to that. A movie I saw in theaters and totally forgot existed.
The Witches of Eastwick.
Mm-mm.
Witch. The
One of
Last
these
Witch
movies.
Hunter.
The
Wait,
no.
The Great Witch Hunter.
No, one of these
No,
movies came out in
The Witch-
2011,
The Witching
and one
Season?
came out in 2013.
It was the Nick Cage movie.
Season of the Witch. Mhm.
Season of the Witch.
That's his number 3.
Okay.
Number 2,
It's
very,
2011?
very, very similar to Gretel and Hansel, and also has witch in the
Gretel
title.
and Hansel Witch Hunters. That's a
Hansel
beautiful
and
movie.
Gretel Witch Hunters.
Gemma Arterton, Jeremy Renner. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Tommy Wirkola directed.
Oh, I want to go watch
Just
that
all
movie
witch
again.
movies?
The guy
Was
who
it
did
Spooky
Violent
Season?
Night. I don't know. He doesn't really use. I think he's an Italian dude who doesn't really use Letterboxd. He has one list called Lista, which just has 9 different movies on it that I've seen. I don't know what he does, but The Last Witch Hunter, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, Season of the Witch, and The Witch. This dude just loves witches.
Man, he's just dreaming of his sexy witch goth girlfriend. And he's just out here lusty on Letterboxd.
Do you think
and it
are there
happens.
Italian gothy witch girls?
Yeah, they're the Volturi, Joey. That's exactly what they are.
Hey, Twilight.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, thank you, Mark, for joining and bringing such life and optimism and positivity to The Last Witch Hunter. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always an honor. Like I love coming on this show and I love this movie. I just love this little movie. $90
love
million
having you,
budget
brother.
movie. Yeah, so it's always a pleasure. I always look forward to this. I put the work in. I watched this movie a bunch of times, but it's not work. Watching
37 times.
listen to the commentary.
Oh, what did you learn? Anything of note from the director commentary?
Oh, let's see. So Brett Eisner was brought in. They didn't think they could get Michael Caine. Why
did Michael Caine say yes?
Because money. He wasn't here much.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
He's like,
It was like 2-day shoot for him, pretty much.
yeah, come in, chat with Vin Diesel, and Vin Diesel's going to bring the super A game for
Sure.
it. Like he's going to take care of you on this set. And then
He's
see.
gonna sell you on it too. He's gonna be like, "Look, hear it out. I'm a witch hunter, and
you're
like
a Dolan.
you're the head priest of the Witch Hunters Guild, okay? And like, this is what we do.
You're not going to believe it. There are witches in the world.
Yeah, it starts out 800 years ago, and then immediately cuts to modern New York.
The thing I love the most, though, is when he talked about how he just didn't want to be bummed out about his wife and kids the whole movie. That was the main pull from the commentary. But a lot of it was just, yeah, here we shot this on Halloween and it was cold. And then we shot this here in Pittsburgh and it was cold. And then we paid for this. But you know what I like about him is Brett Eisner knows the name of all of his crew members. And that, as someone who spent years of his life on film sets, it's really nice you're in a director. Just name everybody.
That's
Just
kind of cool.
dropping names. And
Yeah, that's really cool.
he's like, hey, he's like, I don't know why there's a bomb in Kaulder's apartment, but there is one. He's like, why are there propellers in there? I don't know. But yeah, he's talked about his place was an old bank that they retrofitted. I dig it. They did one day of aerials in New York City. So it was a lot of just kind of setup and talk and not too much lore. But
Cool.
Everyone had huge backstories and all they had created their own language for this movie and just a bunch of dorky stuff. But I liked it a lot. And also I got he also kind of mentioned the witches, the different styles. So I dug that too.
I don't think you can look at this movie and say that people didn't care. right? Like they wanted to make a good thing. It wasn't like a cash grab. It wasn't like a cheap thing. It wasn't like a quick whatever. They wanted to make something good. Like you don't like everything you just described. Like you don't do that with something that you're just like trying to half-ass.
They put their work in and they like this movie, and I think it's a good, fun product.
Yeah.
I do. I really think with Vin is the narrative gets set with him sometimes. Like look at Bloodshot. Look at this. Like I think there's just a narrative around the guy that I don't think is too fair. And it just seems very haughty to go after Vin Diesel nowadays when he's trying to like make somewhat interesting films. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, main takeaway is just think differently about it. And Brett's cool, man. I'm telling y'all, listen to the commentary for the Crazies. It's a really good commentary.
I forgot that Timothy Olyphant is the star of that movie, a guy that I love, that I have a deep man crush on, but I just love him in everything. Like he's just the coolest dude. Like I think I owe the Crazies a rewatch.
And I just watched The Perfect Getaway with Timmy Ollie. It's a good movie.
I don't know that one.
David Toohey directed. Yeah, David Toohey directed it. Mila Jovovich, Steve Zahn, Timothy Olyphant, Chris Hemsworth, the lady who makes the lemon squares that taste like ass from Scream 4. It's like it's good, and it's a good thriller. Don't read anything about it. Don't watch it. It's shot really well. Timmy Ollie's a beast, and I just had to watch it for this assignment I'm on with, for all the Chris's. But we just kind of sat there and watched almost the whole thing. It's good.
Wait, so
I mean, David Toohey, Pitch
which
Black.
Chris's are you doing? You're doing Evans, Hemsworth. Are you doing Pine
Yeah, Pine and Pratt.
and Pratt? Okay.
Yeah. So
Is this
I'm
leading
almost
up to
done.
like Mario, or is just leading up to like what's the impetus? Or just
D&D. I think they're gonna when that drops, they're gonna do who's the best for Chris, and so we're trying to do it less what's the word, less subjectively, more more stats.
Sure.
So we're doing Metacritic and box office and movies
Okay.
and that kind of stuff. So we're trying to figure it out by actual stats. But I'm just combing these movies for crying scenes and all these random bits.
it seems culturally that we have appointed Chris Pine the best Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's in question, right? Like Pratt, he's been in Moneyball, he's been in Her, he's been in Zero Dark 30. Those are all nominated for Best Picture. He has a Jurassic Park franchise, he has the Lego franchise, he has Parks and Rec, and he has all the Marvel stuff.
Yep.
So he's a cash cow. I think Evans is okay. He has Snowpiercer, he has Sunshine, but he's just very Marvel heavy.
Yep.
Hemsworth is doing pretty good. Like Rush, I think the two best performances are Hell or High Water by Pine,
Sure.
and Rush with Hemsworth. Like those are the two I think are the two best of all the movies that I've watched. Those are the two best performances.
Sure. Yeah, no, we did Hell or High Water for the bank robbery, the heist lap, and we will do Rush eventually. Like seeing Rush in theaters with like I saw it like in a theater with good sound. I'm like, this movie rules. Like I don't know if the movie actually rules, but like the sound design in that movie is so good that when you're surrounded by like good speakers, it's like, oh, this is special.
And he and Daniel Bruhl are so good in that movie. I watch it. You know, I don't get annoyed very often, but I watch Daniel Bruhl in that movie and I'm like, man, you're too good. Like this is just like I get annoyed he didn't get nominated for anything because he's really great. And I feel like Ron Howard knew exactly what and who Hemsworth is. It's perfect. It's a really good movie. And so, yeah.
What else do you have going on? Con Air the podcast every Thursday.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. We're doing a mini series, Deep Blue Scenes, of all the aquatic stuff in the Jurassic Park movies. Then I have that's
amazing.
It's been lovely. And it's so easy to prep for and do. And then MFF, you know, it's doing well. Like you got, I think I saw like I was like #1 in Belgium, #1 in Ireland. Like MFF is really picking up.
Wait, so do you think if you're #1 in Ireland, do you think that Jenny the donkey has listened to your podcast?
Multiple times.
Cool.
I mean, Jenny's listened to it. EO has listened to it. The donkey from Triangle of Sadness.
It was a big year for donkeys.
Dead donkeys.
I watched Cow, Andrew Arnold's Cow.
Oh, it's light watching. That's light viewing.
Yeah. Don't get emotionally attached to that cow. Boy. Yeah. Yeah. You're in for I gotta watch First Cow. I've not seen First Cow yet. I just saw Second Cow, I guess, but I did not see First Cow yet.
Good baking.
Yeah, important.
Let's see, what else do I have? I got some videos coming out for Film Theorists, and then I have a Dragon Ball Z episode coming up for Fandom that's going to release I think in March, and then I got a John Wick episode coming up for them as well.
Cool.
So it's all over the place, and then it's on Twitter and whatever.
And the most important thing is that you and I are going to meet in person, hopefully in 3 months
That's right.
when I go down to
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Fun.
Yeah. Big things
Party.
happening. Next episode, not on the main feed, but the next episode you and I are doing, Joe, is
Yes.
The First Purge. We're going from The Last Witch Hunter to The First Purge. From last to first, Justin Kleinman's patron pick of The First Purge will be out for you, the patron, TooFastTooForever.com in just a couple days. And also, shout out to the patrons. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleinman, aforementioned. Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato Di Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallier, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting the podcast, and thank you especially to Justin for the First Purge pick. We'll be doing that next. Joe, you and I in real time are doing that tomorrow. Very exciting.
Yep.
And then we have our Fast X trailer review out this Friday, if you're listening on the main feed, next Friday, if you're listening on the Patreon feed. And then we got our Life in the Fast Lane, number 7, to talk about minute 82. Hopefully we are off the ESD highway, but maybe we're still there. Who knows? We've been there for so long.
For so long. Many weeks.
But thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting to those who do. And Mark, thank you once again for
Thanks for
joining
Mark.
us to talk about The Last Witch Hunter.
Well, keep having me back. I'm honored. However y'all want me, man, I'll happily come back.
I was thinking today, because we've had Montez on all lap talking about the Fast and Furious, I'm like, okay, so I have like 4 months probably until lap 13 starts. So I got to start my outreach for that in like 3 months. I'm like, I still have some time to like not worry about booking guests, but you'll definitely be on a pit stop in the near, not too distant future. So you'll be back for sure.
I'm always around. You guys don't have to worry about me. If you got an extra F, just toss it my way. I'm still gonna be a fan of y'all. So
Well, thank you.
I'm a low
We
maintenance
appreciate it,
guest.
brother.
I don't feel entitled to anything. So if you need me for a direct, I don't know, whatever.
But
VHS
what I
episode,
appreciate
gotcha.
about your takes is that like you like it's not hard to book you on things because you seem to like the movies that no one else wants to watch.
Why? That's how I make my money, guys. Like that's been my career. Like I explore things that no one explores. Like that's what.
It works.
Here's the thing. I love movies, guys. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like I love movies, and so I don't get the whole haughty view of it because
Yeah.
you just got to understand everything as a whole. So yeah, I'll take The Last Witch Hunter 2. I don't care. Like what's that?
If there's a
you
Last
guys
Witch Hunter 2, you know you're coming on to talk about it.
Immediately.
if you can talk about the worst movies and have fun with it and not like, just enjoy it. And I'm like, that's a great skill to have. So
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Yeah, we were just talking about this. I will not explain why we were talking about this, but there's certain people who like know about our podcasts and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, like they want to hear us make jokes about how shitty these things are and like bad things about these. It's like, no, like, have you not listened to like literally anything we've ever done on the network? It's like, we're not doing Cage Club to make fun of Nicolas Cage. We're doing it because we love him as an actor. We love his movies. We're not doing Fast and Furious to like make fun of these movies. We're doing it because we love these movies and we want to champion these actors and everything. So like,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. We're all right there with you, Mark. And that's what we love about these conversations.
Yeah, just have fun, y'all. Like,
Yeah.
the only movie I kind of want to dunk on is that new Tom Hanks picture.
It is, man. I have not seen it in theaters. I'm going to wait for it on VOD. Mike's going to come down here. I'm like, we're not watching this separate. We're going to watch this. We're going to get through this together because neither of us want to see it. I'm sure it's going to be fine because all of his movies are fine, but it's just like, I don't want to see a movie. Like, I know exactly what it's going to be based on like the trailer that I saw.
My least favorite movie ever made is Larry Crown. So this one-
Really?
yeah, it's a weird take.
It's a weirdly kind of just pleasant sort of non-movie movie.
But it's about this dude who gets fired from his job and then starts like a garage sale. Then he immediately joins a moped gang, and then he falls in love with an alcoholic teacher who is married to a porn addict. And then one night when he kicks her out of the car when they're having an alcoholic fight, and he's like, "Get out of the car, A-cup." And then Tom Hanks goes over there knowing that she's married, and he like pretends to kiss her, and he's all excited about it. So he's like, "Yeah, I just had adultery with an alcoholic teacher whose husband's addicted to porn." It's like, but I'm in a moped gang, and there's a truck available to like give me clothes on a whim, and I'm just gonna go, and then like alcoholism.
Wait, clothes on a whim? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's like alcoholism is just solved on a whim, and then she's great, and like I'd have no idea what the middle class does, and this is what I think, and this is what I think is so twee, and like this is me in the real world, and I just wanted to vomit.
I don't remember this moment in the movie, but I looked it up because we obviously covered that for Hanks for the Memories, and I wrote in the description that it has one of my favorite things in a movie ever, and I'm like, I have no recollection of what that is. And I have bolded in my notes, the joy with which Julia Roberts gives Hanks an A+ is pure lunacy. I don't remember this, but it sounds like something that I would like, but I don't remember what that scene is, but sure.
My soul died a little bit that day, but I would never talk about it on an episode because I don't want to just be dunking on something for an hour. But
I think the thing with the Hanks movies is like, for the most of that podcast, I'm just like, yeah, like you're a good actor. I get it. So that to have a movie that's just like, there's no conflict, everyone's just kind of nice. It's like, what are you trying to do here? And I think I liked it for that reason, but.
That makes sense.
I
like Bridge of Spies though. I want to tell y'all, I think that's an underappreciated performance.
Oh, for sure.
It's a good one.
I mean, that's when the world got to know an actor that like Broadway people knew for like 30 years probably, right?
Yeah. And Sully. Have you all seen Bones and All?
Oh, yeah.
Joe too?
No. What is
That's your boy
Bones and
Timothy
All?
Chalamet. That's where he's a cannibal.
It's good. It's
No,
good.
I've
But
never
Mark
seen it.
Rylance, real estate.
He
in my
is
head.
so creepy.
He speaks in third person.
Oh, Jimmy can jump. Yeah.
I feel like 1/3 of Mark's tweets are either about Sully or about Rachel Sennett saying upper middle class. Or maybe I just like, those are the ones that I'm just attracted to. You know what I mean? So
It's the best line.
Yeah.
You're upper middle class.
upper middle class. Love it.
She's the best in that movie. I love her in that movie. She's hilarious.
She's wonderful. This has been a good episode. I like this. So, for
This
all
was
things,
a good episode. I did like this too. Yeah.
for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me. Not that the other episodes aren't good, but you know, there's something different about like 15-minute divergent paths in different, you know, just when you think we're out, they pull us back in.
Yeah.
For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com. Bonus episodes galore this month, so go there for that. Our store over at TeePublic, and come back next time on the main feed for, I guess, the Fast X trailer review, and then Life in the Fast Lane.
That.
I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Mark, the capricious slaughterer Hofmeyer, and we'll tell you all about it.
We see